Hello, friends and neighbors. I've got a lot to talk about today. This is something I've been meaning to talk about for a while now. I'm sure people have noticed we've done like one Summer Wells search. I think the last one was a drive I went on with Andy. We actually saw Dolly Vision in that video. Since then, Jen and I have been struggling because we've been searching places that I would consider shots in the dark because there's no information out there. So we've been, going to random places that have a higher likelihood, which I'll talk about in a second, how we choose those and why we choose those. But I'm just saying that it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of resources and energy. We still have search locations that we do want to search in the Summer Wells case. Those are places that are, for example, a few examples of the list of types of places that we still want to get to. One of them is very remote areas that will take about 9 or 12 hours in the woods, like hiking time. And this time of year, we're lucky if we get that much daylight. Sun starts going down 5 o'clock around here, but it gets dark at 3:30, 4 o'clock. Hopefully by like February, March, this time window of sunlight's going to start opening it up, and that's one of the first places I want to get to. There's also the Fort Patrick Henry Reservoir and a few other reservoirs within a 1 or 2 hour distance drive that we'd love to be able to use sonar, underwater drones, divers, Nugget of course, and get those water areas well searched. Also, water underneath bridges. I'm listing this because if any of you have any interest in checking out these areas, if you have underwater drones or you have sonar or you want to get out there and look, under bridges is a very common place for people to find things, for people to dump things. Usually it's bridges that are easily accessible, hidden somewhat. A good example is the bridge by Warriors Path, where we found those really weirdly shaped rocks that looked like potentially bones of some kind, and then there was a cloth down there, and that spot had pretty well hidden parking areas. You can get under the bridge without being seen that easily because there's very little traffic at certain times of the day that drive through there. It's surrounded by trees. So bridges that have access points like that, somewhat secluded, and someone could easily get under there and dump something, those are good to search, in my opinion. The mountains in a 5 to 10 mile radius around Summer's home is obviously a place we wanted to get to. The difficulty there has skyrocketed since she went missing over the years, because YouTubers have really created a situation there. Unlike other places I've been, that particular community, Beach Creek, is sick of YouTubers, and if you just mention, I'm a YouTuber, can we talk? Or I'm a YouTuber, would you just let me walk across your land? They really don't like YouTubers there. Over the years, YouTubers have created drama. They have just constantly harassed people, honestly, for lack of a better term. And it's created this environment that's very hostile toward YouTubers. So even if you're trying to be respectful to the community, even if you're trying to just walk across their, ask for permission to walk across their land, not take any photos or pictures of the land, but just get to the wilderness, if they know you're a YouTuber, regardless of how respectful you are, honestly, it's really hard to get onto land around there. So the places we've explored in past videos and we're going to get back here, we will get back there. Obviously, since we've paused on this case for a little bit here, we haven't had time to get back to those locations. We will, if we promised we're going to revisit a location, I plan to revisit those locations. The last type of place we get into we look at the criminal element around the case. Places where criminals dump things, illegal dumping grounds, trash dumping grounds. They use those often to hide evidence. Things like double stacking in cemeteries, where they try to hide things under a legitimate site, a legitimate grave, and that's a disturbing situation, because the only thing that potentially could work in a case like that is ground penetrating radar. But even then, ground penetrating radar, for a perfect image, for a good image, for people who know how to read the image, you have to be right over the cavity where the remains are. It can identify the void of a decomposed remains, because decomposing over time creates a void as things disintegrate, and bones will still be there. GPR can spot those voids. They actually use them to find old burial grounds, ancient burial grounds, because they can identify the voids. So that's probably the only technology that would help there. We're not even close to having anything like that. We're trying to get in touch with people who have that and explore that possibility. That's another type of place we're interested in the future. There's a location I want to get to very soon around the Leila Santinello case in the near the Kingsport area. It's on my list. It's at the top of my list. Once I get a good day this week, I think I'm actually going to get up there this week and dive into that particular area. Hull and Snap, Bell Ridge Drive, the Lynn Garden area in Kingsport, still on our list. That's a case we're following. We have not done as much in that case other than research, not actively in the field, because unfortunately there aren't a lot of places in that case. And we now actually have 3 or 4 additional local cases, for example in the Jonesboro area and other areas around here in western North Carolina, that we consider them our new cases because they're local enough to us and people are starting to give up. And so we would like to cover those cases with SAR teams or our own friends who are certified. So if SAR teams are still actively looking into those cases, we would only go into there if we're embedding with an active SAR team, or we're using friends of ours who are certified, and then we'll go into those active search areas. When SAR teams give up on a case, when family says they've called it off, no one's searching for our family, that's when we will use our own technology, all the technology we've accumulated over the past couple years. Sonar, underwater air drones. Sorry, I'm looking at birds circling up here. Our boat, my poles that can get into crevices. We may have a new endoscope that allows us to kind of weave our way through crevices, piles of water. So that we would only do if, again, all SAR teams are out of the area, law enforcement's not looking anymore, nobody's actively looking. Things may take up to a year before we get into that type of situation. And I'm actively trying to get Moon starting training on HRD, human remains detection training, very soon. She's 8 to 9 months now, so it's the time when she should have gotten started by now. But once we get her trained, we can actually volunteer with active SAR teams in active areas in the future. We're also taking on new scam research with the Helene floods. Honestly, there is, I guess, what I heard from Vern, who has done a lot of work in Florida after disasters, it's a common thing that the con artists, opportunists come into a disaster area and they try to build up GoFundMe accounts, create fake organizations, which blew my mind. I think it's horrible that people actually do that in places where people actively need help. Locals need resources, and these people are taking resources away. These are my neighbors. Hurricane Helene is affecting our communities. These are our neighbors that they're taking money away from, they're taking resources away from. And Helene victims around here are being overrun by opportunists, scam artists, and disinformation. I have decided to re-enter the world of scam busting to help neighbors, like to get to the truth, to not let people get away with doing that. It takes a lot of time, and people inevitably don't like you, especially if the scam artists are really good at convincing people they're legitimate and building a community around this, essentially a lie, essentially this fictional scenario they've created. And you have a community who really wants to believe in this story they've created. And when you make that story fall apart, instead of believing it, instead of being open to reality and changing their mind and being like, okay, I fell for it, a lot of people turn to attack the messenger, the person who's telling them the truth, who's giving them the evidence of the reality. It's just nature of the beast. It's human nature. It's cognitive dissonance. They attack the messenger instead of realizing, hey, I got taken. I believe this story that's not true. It's on me, and I got to change my mind and build a new reality where this big entire story is just simply not true. And a lot of people can do that. Some people just can't. And so as a scam buster, you have to be ready for people to hate you for telling them the truth. It's just how it is. So in this case, it's for the community. I'm willing to take that flack to protect my neighbors, to protect our neighbors. The other thing we're covering now, as we're pausing on the Summer Walls case, is telling our neighbors' stories. Hurricane Helene has created so many situations where people have either lost everything or enough was damaged that their livelihood is gone. And then there's stories of the people who live in the community and love their neighbors and are doing so much amazing work, giving of themselves, sacrificing of themselves. Stephanie of Rebuilding Hollers up in Burnsville is a great example. I just met a wonderful woman in Embryville. Her name's Elizabeth, and I talked to her on the phone just a couple days ago and realized that she is a lot like Stephanie. She is doing the same types of self-sacrifice, of service for the community, just out of pure love for her neighbors. And I hope to interview her soon. There's also the businesses that are suffering, and they need the community, they need the world to know that they are trying so hard to reopen for their community, and it's taking everything out of them, and they really need help. A good example of that is I interviewed Carol Fender at Fender's Farm. So much work needs to be done there, so much destruction. It's just heartbreaking to see some business, especially one that makes children and families happy, brings joy to the community, for that to not come back would be a tragedy. That probably more than anything is something that a community that's been through something like this absolutely needs next fall. The haunted maze, the haunted I think it might be a barn this year. All the events they do there, all of the amazing, the fun, the joy that brings to families, that has to come back. And already the people that have given of their own free will, out of their own hearts, asking for nothing in return, but so much more is needed. Families who have lost everything, it's difficult to cover because, as Stephanie said at Rebuilding Hollers, you don't want to be one of those YouTubers that goes and sticks a camera in a family's face who they're already suffering. Do they really want to relive what they went through? But what I've started noticing as I get on the ground with Moon into the communities, we're not in the wild in this case, we're actually talking to people. As we start talking to community members, I've had people come up to me. By the time you see this video, you may have already seen one of the interviews I did with Teddy and his family, where they watched their house go down the river. And I could tell, I was just walking the neighborhood and Teddy walked up to me and started talking. It was almost like venting, like a release, getting something off his shoulders, having someone to just kind of tell the story to, and having the world know what this particular family went through helps with helping the world realize that this is one person in one community of, I don't know how many homes, 20, 30 homes. And if you saw the video, they're gone. It's flattened. Every single family has had an experience like what Teddy described his family went through. They all went through that. And the news, I was in that area just trying to find out what the riverside looks like. I didn't know because I didn't see it on the news. I don't know what the situation along the shore is up and down the Nolichucky or the North Toe or the Pigeon Rivers. I don't know. So I've got to go to these places and explore and talk to people. And I've just started doing that. And I'm coming across people who want to talk, who want to tell their story. I think to bring awareness to this situation and what these people are going through, if mainstream media won't do it, someone's got to tell their stories. I have been a writer my whole life. This is something I love, telling stories. And so that's something that I'm just dedicating time to tell their stories. If people are interested, they're not interested, if it gets views or doesn't get views, as long as there's a place that documents the history of what this area went through, that generations for years down the road can be like, what happened to my grandparents during the flood? Like, what did my community go through? It's documented and they can see everything that happened, learn from it, learn from the history, learn how the government and the media failed East Tennessee and Western North Carolina, and hopefully work to make sure somehow that doesn't happen anymore. This is an important one. We want to stay out of all transactions from you all. If you are looking to donate time, resources, or anything else to the community, this is so important. Do not use our donation links. And we're not going to post GoFundMe accounts of organizations. We're going to give you the address. There may be, if there's a local, I'll tell you what, if we interview a local organization, a local SAR team, a local business, it's because I've done the homework. I've vetted them, that they are local, that they are giving, they're actually doing what they say for the local community. They're giving locals what they say they're giving, or they're doing for the community, like in the case of Fender's Farm, they're doing something for the community. They've been there for 24 years. You better believe that they can be trusted with everything you donate to them. So if we mention them, if we interview them, you can trust them. We've done the homework. That's really important to us. Don't send any Helene donations to us. All donations we get go from our subscribers or viewers for things like gas, travel expenses, to do the research we do, to do the interviews, to do the coverage that we do, to do the searches that we do with our friends. It takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of time. I quit a writing job that paid thousands a month to do this, and from day one it didn't pay anything. It drew a ton of expenses and didn't make anything, and it still doesn't make even half of what we spend, which it's hard. And we don't get donations, honestly, unless I mention it on a video. You have to remind people, and YouTubers say you have to keep on mentioning, like, if you want to get memberships or things like that, to get any kind of support in that manner, you have to mention it in videos, and I hate doing that. I don't like asking for donations. So I've honestly resigned to the fact that people don't remember to donate, and they're not going to donate. People like to watch videos, and so I'm focusing really on just letting the ad revenue do what it does to support the costs. I'm hoping someday, 5-10 years from now, we'll break even at least, and the expenses will be covered. And maybe at some point there will be some income so that I could actually retire someday, and we can afford to continue doing what we do on this channel for as long as we can. So we don't mind making those sacrifices, because I have to tell you, the benefits of knowing we're helping our community, our neighbors, the families of missing, that feeling of helping, of being some form of help for people, is so much greater than any money that you could get from a YouTube channel. So right now, that's what's driving us. The biggest thing that's driving us is knowing that our sacrificing our time, our resources, and our energy is helping people feel like they are getting help, that they're getting heard, that their story's being told. Right now, that's the most important thing, and that's what drives us. Our pause on the Summerwells case, getting back to that, is temporary. We are focusing on these other things for now. We're watching the case closely. We're watching to see where this goes. The moment daylight is long enough, I am getting into a particular area I've been wanting to get into for a very long time. I'm going to make that plan. It's like a 9 to 13 hour day, and I'm getting in there. I don't care if nothing gets resolved in the case yet. That's one area I really want to get into, so I'm doing that regardless. I am getting my Part 107 drone pilot license in January. Cross your fingers. I should pass the test. I've been crash course studying like crazy for the past couple weeks. Hopefully pass that test, and I'll be in the air, and I'm going to use that drone for all the cases we cover, missing persons cases. The Summerwells case, we definitely plan to use it on that case. Due to the generous donation of a friend we met in the course of our Hurricane Helene coverage, we've been donated a sonar unit, a Garmin Echo Map. It even comes with a transducer. I think he said he's also sending an endoscope camera that they use for sending a wire down in the water, with a camera that can actually see down in the water on a wire, so you can view it live. I could use that in crevices, piles of debris, to get into tight areas, to get deeper into crevices. That I'm excited to have that technology too. Again, that's in someone else's case. That's all if TBI or law enforcement has not done anything at all in this case. I really hope we don't get to June again without any resolution in Summer's case. We're going to continue just as hard, if not harder than before, with even more skills and with even more technology than we had before. So, as I told a friend who lives around here, we were talking about this case. We were talking about a search in the Beach Creek area, and I mentioned to this person, Jen and I will never give up on Summer Wells. We feel her spirit calling out for justice. From day one, I felt this call. I feel her spirit around. I feel the energy of her needing justice, and you can't just drop that. You can never drop that. I truly believe she will get justice. If it takes another year, takes another 3 years, takes another 5 years, it's going to happen. She is going to get justice. And I don't care if the people who were involved think they got away with it. They're not going to get away with it. She will get justice. They're going to be behind bars. I guarantee it. It's going to happen, no matter how long it takes. And it's not just like that with Summer Wells' case. Anytime you take on a new case, you're committing to take that case on for life. Even if it's just a matter of constantly researching areas to hike and keep an eye open and be out there and just look. So many families feel so abandoned by nobody even being in the woods, actively doing something, actively looking, even if it's just keeping an eye open. And that's important to us to, if we make a commitment to a case, to any case, that we're not going to do it for a few months and then quit. The way it looks may change. The amount of technology or the type of technology we use may change. What we do may be different over time, but we will never stop. We will never, ever stop, no matter how long it takes. As long as we're alive, as long as we're doing this, whether it takes years and years and years or just months, yeah, we're never going to quit on any case we take on. I know many of you have been following Summer Wells' case since day one, and you're frustrated at the fact that it's been 3.5 years now and nothing. And I want to encourage, I implore you not to give up hope, no matter how long it takes. And some ways that can help you not giving up hope is ignoring or unsubscribing from drama channels who only spend their time talking about the case, not specifically the case, but talking about people in the case or other channels, just really negative things. I highly encourage you stop watching those, because they will make you more discouraged. They will bring your spirits down. They'll just make you want to not care anymore, not follow the case because it feels so hopeless. I would instead subscribe to channels that do case research, that look into the facts of the case, that discuss, even if it's just speculation, that focus on the case and not other people, that focus on the situation that happened to the missing person and not accusing people who are still alive. That's really important, because that keeps you focused on the missing person, keeps you focused on where people should be searching, where they should be going, what law enforcement is up to, what the legal process is happening. If things are getting resolved, then the channels that cover the court cases and they stick to the story, those are good. Even if it's not people out there searching, the case research keeps you focused on what's important, and that's the missing person, and it can keep your hopes up. So I would say definitely stay subscribed, or subscribe to channels like that. Unsubscribe from the drama channels. They'll drive your discouragement through the roof, and you'll won't want to do it anymore. You won't want to follow the case anymore. And the last thing Summer Wells needs is less people following her case, or any case for that matter. And finally, I want to say thank you and let you know how much we appreciate all of you. That includes the people who've been with us from the beginning, the hiking enthusiasts, the outdoors enthusiasts, the gun ownership enthusiasts who followed my gun videos and started following the nature videos, to those of you who have been following us since we started covering Summer's case. your support has been so strong in keeping us motivated and going forward, despite the drama and the negativity around a case like that. And for those of you who are following the other cases like Layla and Holland and have come to our channel through those cases and other new cases that we take on, we want to thank and say how much we appreciate all of the new subscribers from our coverage of Hurricane Helene and the communities in North Carolina and East Tennessee. There's a special place in our heart for these communities who have been through this, who are suffering so much. And I can see it in the comments of our videos of all of you who come to our channel. All of you who have come to our channel after each of those videos, and you post the most heartfelt. Unfortunately, in a lot of cases, it's painful comments. A lot of people. What makes me feel amazing is when they say they weren't aware of the situation being this bad, and when we brought awareness to a new person out there. One person was from California, one person was from England, who said there's no news coverage, and they had no idea the level of destruction. To know we can bring that awareness to people across the world means so much to me. It's a lot of what drives me. So thank you to all the new subscribers from that coverage. Your support means so much to Jen and I. And anyone else who's subscribed to our channel for any other reason, let me know the reason you subscribe to us in the comments. I would love to hear that as well. It's very encouraging, keeps us motivated to keep going across the whole list of things that we cover and the things that we do. For those of you who are seeing this for the first time today, coming across our channel for the first time today, give us a like and a subscribe. It helps so much more than you can imagine. Higher the subscribers, the more likely people, businesses are going to be open to talking and meet with me and see how sincere we are and how much we want to help the community. But opening doors a lot of times takes a lot of subscribers, just the way the world works. So if you're new to our channel, please subscribe. Whether you're new or not, please like this video or any of our videos. What we do, everything we do is for the victim. What our motivation is to help the victim, whether that's a missing person, whether that's a victim of a disaster. That's what gets us out there every time we go out there. We're encouraged and we're inspired to keep our hopes up and to keep our energy up from the continuing love, appreciation, and support from all of you. We could not do this. Even with hundreds of thousands of subscribers, we still couldn't keep doing this without those words of encouragement, without those people just saying, we love what you do, please keep going. You're doing a good job. Carol at Fender's Farm said something that was very true. It's true for businesses as much as it is for YouTubers, and it's one negative comment sometimes can trump thousands of positive. And so the overwhelming positive comments from all of you have just easily made anything anybody says negative blown out the window, and that helps a lot. So thank you for following along. I hope you're okay with our reasons for putting a pause on summer well searches for now. It's not going to be forever. We hope you understand. We are going to get back to it soon. Keep your spirits up. Keep your hope alive that she'll get justice. That's it. That's all I had to say for today. So thank you all. We appreciate and love you all. If you're seeing this after the new year, I hope you have a great 2025. We love you, and we will see you next time.